So let's take a look at these opening hands. I mean, the recap land deck did win back-to-back European Championships, so who knows if TENPAI can just replicate the same thing.
Yeah, there's fewer cards to know what they do, though. That was obviously the joke about the Ricker deck, is you could keep winning and no one would ever know what it did. But TENPAI, I think everybody knows what they do. You watch them as they deal like 20,000 damage to you, which you're unable to stop.
Yeah, the difference is even though you know what they do, what can you do about it? So, let's see. I mean, this is the ideal opener, of course. And yeah, we access our new favorite tool of the deck.
Yeah, here comes Holly-Sue. It just opens up absolutely everything the deck wants to do, but Droll Lockbird is still going to be a bit of a trick for the deck to deal with. Unable to add cards from the deck to the hands. That's going to shut off cards like Mad Love, Start, Borga, just an awful lot.
Yeah. But you can add it from the graveyard, so that doesn't stop the rock from doing its thing. And yeah, we might just have pass.
Which I think is not the end of the world, because we have seen Vanquish Soul playing a lot during your opponent's turn, and with the Holly-Sue itself, you're just able to do so much.
Oh, and we do see a preventive Fuvalos, obviously just trying to play into that Holly-Sue later on, and it's followed by an Engraver.
Yeah, it makes sense to use the Fuvalos, because I think it's a little hopeful to think you'd get a turn after to use it anyway, so might as well use it now in case.
Sure. I guess I would have just waited for the Engraver, because then if if they roll you there.
Yes, that makes sense.
Just tiny difference, I guess, but whatever. Now we continue, and for now, obviously, Giuseppe has no idea that there are even TENPAI cards in the deck.
Yeah, Fiendsmith could be anything at this point. I feel like there's almost no decks where people haven't experimented with Fiendsmith in the deck with it.
And yeah, here comes again Raisin, obviously on the same column.
Yeah, always advisable if you can to put your monsters in the same column as monsters already on the field of the Vanquish Soul player. So in this case, maybe you could put it under the rock.
Ooh, and here it's good. Yeah. I mean, he already knows about the Holly-Sue, and now, yeah, Dr. Madlove, everything is set up. How can we continue?
Is that a Vanquish Soul joke? I don't think he runs it anymore.
Fair.
Yeah, it used to be a real struggle for Vanquish Soul to keep monsters on the field.
Yeah.
So that was why you needed to run the Monster Reborn-like effect of Continue, but now they have so many more ways to summon monsters.
Oh, and there's the Ghost Bell, which Giuseppe is main decking 2 copies, and pretty good one, because let's see here, Hannes is left with 3 cards in hand, one of which is an Ash Blossom.
Yeah, Ghost Bell was something that I kind of heard being quite popular for a time. Everyone was kind of touting all the different ways you could use it. Maybe you could use it against the Mitsurugi cards, maybe you can use it against Whitebinder, but I guess probably not impactful enough to make its way into a lot of players' main decks. But you're more than happy to run it in the Vanquish Soul deck because it is an Earth attribute, so you can make use of it that way as well as make use of its hand trap effect.
Yeah, this prompted out this precious code by the Grave to just try and continue. Yeah, it doesn't seem like he has even that much left. And just like other decks that we have seen in action this weekend, I mean, Vanquish Soul is definitely not an all-in kind of strategy. You keep some resources and you can just grind. So
yeah, it was such a short first turn for Giuseppe. He just used the one search and then made a rock, but it already does just so much that you don't mind passing your turn when you've already got a pile of Vanquish Souls in hand.
And here comes the Snow Devil to clear Anne's field. And also see the Holly-Sue in hand being kept by Giuseppe.
And he's also going to get to summon 1, 2. Yeah. So it looks like he's hovering over a Mad Love. Going to be able to bounce a card for good measure. Struggling to see what the single card in Hannes' hand could be that will get him out of this. It's certainly not
an Ash.
An Ash Blossom.
Not quite.
Just thrown all 6 of his cards against Giuseppe, who seems to still have like a good pile left.
Yeah.
2 monsters, a rock can add back more Vanquish Souls.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely not the type of deck that you want to try and 1-for-1 for, because they are so good at just turning one card into, you know, an area of plays. And yeah, I think Anis is just not picking up his cards, I guess, to enjoy his time on stream as much as possible, you know.
One advantage, I guess, of the Vanquish Soul deck, after we see a card like Fuelos, is just how little it is bothered by Fuelos, because against almost every other deck in the room, Fuelos is going to slow you down somewhat. But Vanquish Soul, you know, could summon a couple of times from the extra deck at most if you draw like Stake Your Soul and you really want to use Holy Sue. But if you're just, you can just chill. Like we saw there, he was just very chill. It's a normal summon to Razin and summon a rock, and that was it. That was all he needed to do, and it was still very powerful.
Yep. Do you reckon is one of the also friendliest deck for whoever wants to get into competitive Yu-Gi-Oh for now as a entrance, I think?
It certainly is a lot of fun. You know, you don't have to do too many things. You can just use your interaction, so that does kind of make sense. You don't have to learn any long combos. It really depends on the kind of way you like to play, because I think some people would rather just learn their own combos and do those, because if you're instead planning to interrupt your opponent, then you kind of have to know what your opponent's up to, which might be tougher in a sense, even though you're not doing as much yourself. But yeah, showing off a heavy Borga here. You don't need to attack for 8,000 in one turn when you can do 3,000 extra with the heavy Borga over the course of 2.
And also here, I think Hannes just maybe wants to see how the Vanquish deck plays, if he hasn't faced any so far. But yeah, I mean, I think Giuseppe may be able to seal this one now.
Yeah, he's got so much going on.
Yeah, I mean, at least if there is a positive thing about this match for Hannes is that his opponent doesn't really have all that much info about his deck. Like, he has only seen some Entrops and then Fiendsmith cards, and that could be, you know, pretty much...
Could be anything, yeah.
I mean, a couple of events ago, it literally would have been any deck of the format. Now, you know, not as popular, but...
It's probably not Vanquish Soul, but other than that... regardless of what deck it is, Magnuma is still going to cause some trouble.
Indeed, but forces out this Lacrima.
And still holding on till the last here. Just making sure we're not going to mess up at all. I guess just revealing a Razin, so Geolong can summon itself from the hand. I have a feeling this is more than enough damage at this point if you were just to go to the battle phase.
I think we are just gonna try to wall up, but that's not really gonna work.
Yeah. So I'm making some calculations here, but yeah. Should be enough. Yeah, game 1 goes to Giuseppe pretty smoothly, especially because I didn't really get to see Hannes deck much. As mentioned, just saw a few hand traps and the Bestials and the Fiendsmiths.
So, are you a fan, Alberto, of the revamped TENPAI, where you chuck in a couple of other engines and you kind of use TENPAI as a side engine, or were you more of a traditional TENPAI enjoyer, where you were going second, you know, having all the mulch armies in the universe and all of these powerful go second lightning storms and things?
Usually from traditions, I have to say, yeah. Like certain things need to be as they've always been. But but I like the way Hannes is playing the deck, you know, with the different you know, additions and yeah. I mean, as mentioned, Tom, you were right. I mean, Hannes is going first. I don't really see why not, especially with this type of build. And then of course he has like TENPAIs for going second if that's the case, but yeah.
Here come the first TENPAI. Giuseppe, yeah, you can look at his face, just, you know, not really sure what's going on and why, you know, Hannes is going first, but yeah, this works out pretty well. You can always set up, you know, your attic seal going first, so.
There's of course the old joke, seals pass.
But not quite, only that.
Yeah, interesting. I guess there's probably some sequencing here that needs to be figured out as to whether it's what's the correct one to start with. I elected to start with the TENPAI, but that doesn't play into John Lockbird at all, I guess, because it just sets the card directly.
Definitely, I do agree it's an interesting sequence, but it also plays a bit more into bestials, I feel like, not, you know.
That's true, yeah. Normally you don't see, just generally you don't like play a card until you're going to use the card, so you don't need to normal summon, show your opponent what's up.
But here we get that Fuvalos, and this hurts quite a bit, possibly. Okay, we do have the Rebellion. Well,
it's got all the starters that he could ask for of his different engines, but got to figure out how best to use them, right?
No, it's definitely, you know, all of the three better openers, but Fuvalos is there, so it's tough to beat it just with engine. Ooh, and we decide to just get rid of our engraver.
It's a crime against Fiendsmiths doing that, isn't it? But here we are. A very nice interaction that feels so good with Lubellion is to use it when you've already summoned a Necro-equipped Princess, because then you also get to draw a card. But in this case, I guess you don't really want to give your opponent so many cards just to get one yourself. But yeah, this regain will offer so much advantage if it goes unopposed, because you're going to get to start drawing cards every turn. You can also bring back Magnum Alert when your opponent summons a monster, so that's going to get you even more Bestials. You're just going to have Bestials and cards for days, as long as you can keep it going longer into the duel. How many cards do you give someone when they Fuvalos you? How many cards are you happy or are you unhappy about giving your opponent?
I think when you go above 2, I'm not that happy, yeah, I guess. Yeah, 2 I'm fine with. 3, yeah, we start bothering me a bit, but it also depends a lot on what you're up against. In this case also, obviously, there is a downside of the Holisu, so you gotta be careful about that.
Yeah, Vanquish Soul, I guess, a deck that can happily use more cards that you give it, because one of the downsides, I guess, to the deck is that it needs a lot of cards. Yep. But on the flip side, it means if you give them lots of cards, they're going to do all of those powerful things that people are really scared of, like summon Holisu on the first turn.
But yeah, that was it. I think we saw an end phase, and then what happened is, in his own turn, Giuseppe activated another Fuvalos, to which we are chaining now.
That's interesting. So Giuseppe waiting to the main phase to use his Fuvalos, which he didn't need to do. So do you think he's trying to bait Hannes there? Because he's got a talent. I think he's laughing. I think he didn't realize that
he probably just, you know, instinctively said, "Stand by main," you know, those kind of situations, and then realized it. I mean,
it's definitely a good habit to get into, saying "stand by main," just in case your opponent like tries to do anything. But in this case, it's backfired somewhat.
I mean, now we know about the Bold Drake, which is also gonna draw us a card.
It's also very weird seeing this TENPAI just on the field. He didn't even activate the field spell. It's just kind of sat there. I don't really think there's any good way for Vanquish to interact with it, but still, it just seems a little funny, doesn't it?
Yeah, indeed. And okay, we're gonna normal summon Raisin. Regained. It's gonna trigger. As you've mentioned, giving you know, access to quite some resources to Hannes and getting into interesting grind game.
Yeah, it feels so good when you resolve the regained to get back Magnamut. So you know you're going to have even more Bystials, or I suppose you can also add a Tenpai in the end phase as well. You've got to make sure not to use Genroku to summon from the deck and give your opponent an extra draw, though, if you don't need to. Here comes the army of Vanquish Souls. Bystials in Hannes' deck, I suppose he needs to run them because they're part of his engine, but they don't really seem like they do anything to Vanquish. They have a couple of Darks, but none that really end up in the grave all that quickly.
Interesting. So we're going to use the Paradise here.
This might be a little heads-up play, because it might be that Giuseppe not got 2 fires in hand yet and needs to add back the Raisin to be able to use the Geolong search.
But I think we went for the Link instead.
Oh, we targeted the rock anyway. Okay.
So
Yeah, ignore me.
fair. Okay, we decide to follow through immediately. This is gonna give us a draw again, thanks to the regained, and set up another interruption. So our resources have been once again taken aback. They're probably discussing about, you know, shuffling deck or what's gonna happen. Yep, definitely should be.
Yeah, it's nice to shortcut not shuffling every time you put something into the deck, but you always need to make sure you do it before you draw a card.
This is a precious draw. Okay, followed up by a reinforcement of the army.
He's going to have however many Rosens he's got now. At least 2.
So, yeah, exactly. He's going to activate Geolong's effect as well.
Here we go. We've got all these monsters on the field. I don't really feel like they're doing all that much.
Yeah.
So they're just going to be sort of food to be steadily picked apart. Oh, is that a Ghost Ogre?
Ooh, okay. Nice.
That's
There
an
we go.
interesting one, yeah. I do agree with you, Tom, that maybe the Desiree was, you know, could have targeted something else, but...
Yeah, because the rock's not going to do anything for a while. I mean, it's good to get it off the field eventually.
It seems like, you know, that way you're asking your opponent to just have something else, some other way to push. Let's see whether Giuseppe can figure this puzzle out. And oh, we do have stake here, so
So here comes Take a Soul. Gonna get a Heavy Borger, and that will let you draw a card. So much fun playing Vanquish Soul. You just keep drawing cards, adding cards.
Playing with attributes as well. No, I really like it. Yeah. And again, as you mentioned, Tom, I think he plays around Mulch Armies very well.
I think Perulia is more of a problem, I guess, than Fuelos.
And here Giuseppe enters battle phase just dealing with Kohannes monsters. I feel like he's not done yet, though.
I guess Vanquish Soul must be strange because you have all these resources, but you can't necessarily always convert them. You kind of need them, but you can't always convert them into interruption. You just need them to activate some of your other effects. So it can feel a little weird sometimes when you have all these cards but can't necessarily do everything that you want to do.
Yeah.
Giuseppe just looking at his hand over and over, but I'm not sure what it's so strange to just have this 5-card hand that you just can't, can't necessarily summon any more monsters to the field.
Draw. I'm trying to take a look at what we don't know. Yeah, it's a draw and lock and a pot of extravagance. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, pot maybe was drawn off of the heavy Borger. Which is a bit of a downside to it, that it doesn't work so well with the heavy Borger. But the pots, I think you have to run, even if heavy Borger conflicts with them a little bit. And that looks like it might be the end of the turn for Giuseppe. So Hannes more than happy to pass back and search one more dragon. Genroku, which can just summon itself straight away. So I feel like he's kind of in the driver's seat somewhat here. Here's a question though: will the players remember that Full Loss was activated? Because it was activated so long ago.
Yeah.
And Hannes did just summon from the deck, so Giuseppe should draw a card. I mean, not that he needs any more cards at this point, he's already got hundreds. I think maybe the judge is just pointing out that he forgot to draw a card in his end phase. And now it's gone back over to Hannes, and then Geelong activated and immediately hit with an Ash Blossom.
Yeah, here comes the Lacrima. I think Hannes navigated through this very well. Now it's up to Giuseppe, which is left with few monsters, and I think we may be seeing soon interruptions from his side.
One of the things about the TENPAI deck is it can sometimes be very difficult to interact with, because it does everything it wants to do in the battle phase, and there's so many cards nowadays which only allow you to use them in the main phase.
Yeah, and I mean, although we mentioned that it was not used in turn 1, that Singing Summoning is still there, you know, hiding on the field, but we should not forget about it because it's going to be quite relevant coming up.
Yeah, it's just been face down this whole time. But yeah, it makes sense at some point to flip it up to protect your TENPAIs, if nothing else, even if you're not going to use it, because I don't really see any benefit to having it face down. Here comes Caesar Valius. Able to destroy a card, but it feels like just too many cards for one Caesar Valius to take on by itself at this point.
But the good thing is,
as
mentioned, as mentioned, with the Vanquish Soul, it's just with one card, then you keep getting advantage, and then search, and then destroy, and then, summon the Holy Soul, take control, there isn't pops. It's, so many interruptions that it can get early out of hands easily.
There's just a limited number of interruptions, though, at some point. And so when you're staring down a bunch of resources from your opponent, are you going to have enough ways to stop them? So here comes some Fiendsmiths. And Giuseppe maybe got the Holy Suit, and maybe got the Vanquish Soul Trap, although I think we know it is a Pot of Desires, but Hannes doesn't necessarily know that that's the case.
See, Tom, who said TENPAI's matches are quick nowadays. Can still be quite grindy.
Yeah, this is kind of a new school TENPAI where it's not the whole engine, it's just something you can use and has a little bit of synergy with the Bestials because you can search them together.
Yeah.
I feel like Hannes probably is sussed out that it might not actually be a Snow Devil face down. So it probably would have been activated by now.
About to find out, maybe. But okay, time for the Su.
And are we going to get regained again if we've not already used it this turn? So here comes, I guess, Razan has to be. I'm just wondering if he's got all of them in his in his hand at this point. Oh no, it's Borga. Okay. Interesting choice there, not to use it as an interruption, but just to summon a heavy Borga. Maybe he's searching for a particular draw off the top of his deck, but it's going to be quite tough to find it because you only get one draw. Yeah, it seems strange. He just used the Holly Sue. Just, I guess he needed to use it at some point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But
so now comes with Desiree being on the field, and no, Giuseppe still not impressed with it.
Now, will he go after the Agnum Day? Will he go after the set with the Desiree, you think? Or do you think he's sussed out? I think it's probably something you need some experience with against the Vanquish Soul to just disrespect the face downs. Because I think Death Devil is the only card.
Yep. But I agree with you that maybe, you know, the read could have been there, that would have been activated before, so...
Because it's just never a deck people are going to put Infinite Impermanence in, because he feels like you really want to play hand traps.
Oh, Scoops.
Yeah, just the trust into talent is enough. And Giuseppe...
So here we go, Vanquish Soul, definitely a deck that excels at going first. And I'm seeing a couple of hand traps, a talents. Does he have a card to start the turn with, though? That is the question.
Passed.
And he does not.
Wow.
Oh, and passing against Tenpai.
Oof, that's brutal.
Just a single Tenpai monster, you know, Will.
I think he has Ash, Droll, Talent.
Maybe Talent.
Wow. And,
I mean...
Is there another story with Tenpai? Tale as old as time. Your opponent bricks, you just normal summon Tenpai and say thank you very much.
Oh, but that is set is not added. Yeah. Oof.
oh, yeah. And now he reveals
revealing
also to his
some
opponent,
information.
Yeah, that there's
Yeah.
the draw lock, so it's...
Yes,
That's unfortunate.
Got to keep your eyes on those interactions.
I mean, obviously you can add it, but I mean, it doesn't not make sense to do so. So yeah, that's a precious information, though, as you can see. I'm not sure if I
Yeah.
agree with that, but sure.
I'm looking at that thinking, you've seen the draw, surely you just activate the field spell
For sure.
first.
Okay, there's the talent, that's why.
But he knows he's got the talents.
Yeah.
Okay, and maybe, I mean, but maybe he already has the Chandra. I don't
Wow,
know.
what a hand from Giuseppe.
Oof, that's
that was
rough.
very unfortunate.
I mean, wow.
Not taking the Ash. So what are the other cards in his hand?
It's just gonna pass back, like, and take it easy, you know? Because surely, I mean, as you have mentioned, you see that the draw, unless you're like Sportman Yu-Gi-Oh! Player of the Year, like, you surely... Yeah, maybe that's it. Wow.
Like, you can even just add the quick play in that plays around draw as
and
well,
play it.
because you just, you just
Yeah,
chain
exactly.
it. But oh, wow, I mean, I guess with Vanquish, there's very few cards that do all that
And
much by
that's
themselves.
it. Wow, yeah. I guess... Oh, truly, it's sportsmanship. I can't find any other way to describe it. So, pass back to Giuseppe, who is in need of a good top deck, for sure.
I think it was Holly
Holly
Sue,
Sue,
which
yeah.
I don't think is going to do anything.
I mean, that pays off for, you know, sending back that card with talent from Hannes. Just checking his options, but I mean, the end then is Sue, talent, draw, and Ash, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you do enough things, your opponent might use a monster effect, and then you can use your talents.
Pass it back.
Yeah, that's a pass back, and this game could have already been over, having search the Chandra, but we have a second chance.
Yeah, it's tough to see what Giuseppe's going to do here because there are two cards that he desperately needs to negate, both the Tract and the Sangan Summoning.
And this does not help all that much because now Pydra can be activated again also. Like we possibly have access to another one. We can just use Distract. Obviously we know about the draw, but it's not gonna do all that much. So it's a very rough spot obviously for Giuseppe. You gotta feel bad for him.
There really isn't much to do in this situation. Ash been used, just a talents. This is one of the downsides of it. It's always such an incredibly powerful card if it complements the rest of your hand, but I don't know, I think it's a universal Yu-Gi-Oh player experience at this point where you have the talents but no way to force your opponent to do anything, or maybe they just have an infinite impermanence only.
Indeed.
And yeah, I think here Giuseppe knows that you know, this may be enough because there's nothing else left in his hand to basically stop Hannes. And yeah, I think he will also enter battle phase.
Well, yeah, it's the classic line of the Fiendsmith deck. Oh, maybe he's got something else up his sleeve. But yeah, normally you just sequence into
there you go.
Day,
Okay.
but yeah, just a simple.
I mean, that's just good enough. And here comes the handshake. Giuseppe, yeah, couldn't find